The fantasy and romantasy world is always changing and developing, but there has been some major shifts recently that readers should really look out for. And I don't just talk about new releases or new books coming out, I talk about actual patterns in reading and in publishing. So let's check out these trends. First one that I'm seeing is that there are more duologies released than ever, which is kind of fun but also very interesting. For example, we have the One Dark Window duology from Rachel Gillig. We also have Six of Crows from Leigh Bardugo. The popular romantasy book The Ascended is going to become a duet as well, and so many others. And I think one of the reasons for this trend is our attention span, but also that we are getting a bit tired of these really long series. It can be nice to dive into this series and know that you're going to stay there for a really long time, but it can also be quite daunting to start reading something that you know you're going to spend weeks or months on. Duologies are probably getting more popular because they are more digestible, and with a 2-book arc you can also have a tighter story. So I see why this is getting so popular, and I think we will see even more of it in the future. Another trend that I'm seeing is that we are also getting more and more interconnected universes. And I think this goes hand in hand with more duologies. Because instead of publishing really long series, authors rather go for duologies or trilogies in an interconnected universe. Examples of this is, of course, Brandon Sanderson. We also have the Massverse, we have the Grishaverse, and we also have other interesting releases that are coming out. And I think this trend will only continue because it's fun for the readers, and the authors can also make the reading experience more interesting by connecting different worlds and different characters, and just make everything more digestible for readers. Another really nice trend that I'm seeing is that we get more global inspiration and variety in books. In both fantasy and romantasy, we see both folklore and mythological inspiration from different cultures, and that's a really nice addition to what's been out there before. Are you maybe in the mood for a dystopian setting, or are you maybe in your Lady Knight era? Because both kinds of books are trending right now. And by the way, I'm in the middle of the Everlasting, and if you want to read about a Lady Knight and have this really beautiful and interesting book, I can highly recommend it, even though I haven't finished it yet. But like I said, dystopian settings, Lady Knights, and also deals with the devils are really big in the publishing world right now, so we'll probably see some interesting releases of that in the future. And romantasy is changing, but maybe for the good part. When romantasy hit, it hit hard, and the love for these kind of books skyrocketed sales all over the globe. But recently, the spike in romantasy and the trend has started to flatten out, and also sales are dipping a bit. I've seen a lot of people talk online about unique romantasy books or characters or tropes or settings that you haven't read before, and there is this looming romantasy fatigue out there. But I think this might be a good thing for the romantasy world, that it might force this genre to evolve, but in a really good way. Readers want something that haven't been done before instead of reading the same story over and over again. So I think this will force authors to write more unique stories and craft even better books. And I think we will see a lot of that in the future. A new very interesting trend that is also on the rise is book created for audio first. In 2025, Spotify released their audio platform, but also worked with some authors to create exclusive stories to release on their platform first. For example, Ali Hazelwood's book Two Can Play was released there first and will be released as a written book during the spring of 2026. And I think we will probably see more and more of this trend because audiobooks are also so popular right now. And then we also have the trend of the rise of the indie authors, and I think that is so exciting. With Amazon's program Kindle Direct Publishing, but also Spotify's new audiobook platform, Audiobook Selects, there are more and more independent authors releasing their books on their own. And then a lot of them later on are also getting picked up for traditional publishing deals. This is great because it gives readers a chance to discover new books and also new authors that they wouldn't have found otherwise, and it also makes the threshold to release a book less daunting than getting a traditional publishing deal. And with bookish content on social media, it's also easier than ever to get your book and your story and your characters out there. So I think this is a really interesting and important trend that we will see even more of in the future. And if you don't know what you should be reading in the future, and if you're interested to know what I'm planning to read during this year, you can check out this video to get some inspiration for your TBR.